obvious place to start, because you were hopeful of bringing a couple of players in. You weren't able to. What was the situation there?
Didn't bring a couple of players in, so that's how it is. We have to deal with it and get on and full focus on now onto the next set of games leading up to the transfer window. In terms of that, spoken a lot about the window, how difficult it's been. I think it's been a mixed bag for us. I think there's been some good things at the start and through. Ultimately, it ends in disappointment. I won't be the first manager that will be disappointed how things have gone. It's been a big rebuild in there. You know, trying to bring 12 players in is obviously difficult, but there was a reason to bring 12 players in. Would I have wanted to bring 12 players in? No. Do I think we needed to bring 12 players in? Yeah. So we took a chunk of that we've dealt with, and in that, you know, we've managed to bring some really good players in. We've brought a couple of younger players in from a development point of view. We've brought some players in that I'm sure will go well this season, and the back end of it, we've missed out. So we've, not for the want of trying. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, done and dusted, and the main point now obviously is well, it has always been the main point in terms of trying to affect the team, coach the team, manage the team to better results. I don't think we could have done much more in terms of the performances, because the performances in general have been excellent, you know, culminating in one last Tuesday. So getting back to the day-to-day work of working with a group of players now is going to be my full focus.
Just on that, we heard on Thursday the club were trying everything, and you'd said throughout the last couple of weeks, everyone in the club is working hard together trying to bring players in. Were you close on Thursday to bringing a couple in?
We tried. Yeah, I mean, what is close? You know, did we have players up here? No. Did we have a situation like it was at West Brom where paperwork failed at the death? No. Were we trying to do business? Yeah.
In terms of that, you say now what did you do with the players after that? Clearly you were wanting to bring a bit more experience in, want to bring midfield and the forward, you talked about it. What do you say to the players that, you know, when those deals don't come through?
It's not to do with them. What's that got to do with the players?
Well, just the fact you were looking to strengthen, you weren't able to strengthen.
It's got nothing to do with the players though, has it? It's absolutely nothing to do with the players. Their job is to get on with being a footballer and playing as well individually as they possibly can in terms of what we've got. We're light in a certain area and we're just going to have to get on with it. So that's how it is. We'll have a little peek at the free transfer list, which isn't ideal, but it's got nothing to do with the players at all. It's got something to do with myself and the coaching staff in terms of trying to strengthen the group to make us better, stronger, and deal with certain situations and scenarios that might occur. The biggest thing now, obviously, we've just got to, you know, fingers crossed that we don't get it by a spate of injuries. Injury record is being very, very good at the moment. We've got a couple out, which is disappointing. But we have to really have a good run really now to January on that front, because we can't afford, especially in a certain position, to lose anybody.
You talked a bit about how performances have been impressive at times, not getting the results. What do you do about that with the players?
Well, we keep believing and keep reiterating the good things and keep showing and obviously trying to eradicate the real couple of little bits. I've got to say, I think the most critical of Middlesbrough supporters will recognise we haven't had a bounce of a ball in terms of a bit of luck. You know, when people go, oh, you earn your luck and it might even itself out. Well, it's not even itself out, and we can't do enough more to earn that little bit of slice of luck that we're not getting. And obviously a couple of refereeing decisions that yet again I've spoke to the referee coordinator, and even yet again yesterday I see a penalty not given at the West Brom game and one given against us last Saturday. So yet again the consistency levels are really poor in terms of the officiating. So we'd like to see those guys get out the traps and improve their performances just as much as we'll look at ourselves and trying to cut out the small details, the minor details that are hurting us. The last 2 away games, the last 2 out of the 3 away games, we're looking at it, and I'm looking at it from a tactical point of view, and I think through experience you always have this feel, do you need to change anything? Because it's on top for us. We're on the back foot. In all 3 games, we've not needed to do that. I might have to start doing that because I'm a bit sick and tired of us. And it's quite a conundrum that I'm going to have to deal with, and quite a difficult situation that I'm going to have to deal with, because especially at the Stoke game, and especially at the Watford game against arguably one of the best sides in the Championship, I don't want to take that ambition out of the players, and I really don't want us, when the game's up for grabs, which it was, to start bringing on 3 and 4 defenders and shutting up shop, because I think everybody recognised, especially in the Watford game, that there was only one team that was going to win it second half. So the ambition of the team to go and get that win, I want to see, but it's not a tactical thing. If I'm making sense, if I'm not, let me know. But if I'm explaining myself all right, that I don't all of a sudden us be in the ascendancy and then put a pin in the balloon by saying, right, off you come, and then we just go 5-4 or 5-5 and see the game out. But I've got to say, it's in my mind, because the points that we've dropped are hurting us. You stick a minimum extra 3 points on there, and I think we certainly should be more as well. A minimum 3 points, turns our position from not a great one into an okay one, with more to come. So feel for the players at the moment, but we've got to keep riding it out and keep going and sticking together and doing the stuff, as you said at the start, that is producing. And as well, a lot of people talk about, especially in the first 10 games, let's get the performances right, results will come. I struggle with that. I do see where they're coming from. I struggle with that. I like to see good performances. I like to see good results, and we certainly need to put a good performance in Monday night, and hopefully that'll get us a big result that we're all after.
Just finally for me, what are you expecting from Sunderland?
Yeah, well, full tilt. You've seen the games. See the way they played sort of second half of the season when Alex went in. Obviously, there's it's been quite an interesting sort of week, I should imagine, for the most ardent and of Sunderland supporters, and obviously our local guy going in there. I'm not sure I'd be able to do that, but our local guy going in there will add a little bit of spice to it. And Tony's a great football man and great guy, so. And they're going well. They've got that bounce of promotion and winning at Wembley and carrying it through. And every game they've been really competitive in. So no doubt, I know they don't look at this as a derby, but I think it's going to be a tasty affair on Monday night. Full house, I should imagine. Great atmosphere to be involved in, and one games that all games you look forward to, but I always think there's those ones through the season that really are them that take it to the next level, and certainly both sets of supporters will take it to the next level. Both sets of players will be looking to get that big win that we're both teams are after.
Cheers.
Chris, I guess with the way the season's going, obviously, as you said, you've had performances, not necessarily the result. This kind of game on Monday night could be the if you like, the spark that can really kick it up.
I don't think we've needed a spark, because you've seen with the performances. I don't think we're after a big game. Do I think we'll play well? Yeah, because we're in good nick. I keep saying, and 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there in 3 or 4 games out of 7 games. Not a whole back foot performance, not a terrible performance in through a game where goalkeepers had to make save after save, and we're all over the place. It's quite head scratching at the moment, and as I said, the conundrum that we're working in, especially the back end of games, the back end of the 2 away games. So listen, it's part of the fixture list. It's a great game to be involved. I don't think that if we win on on Monday night our approach going into Blackpool will be any different. Our approach going into the game on Monday won't be any different to what our approach was against Swansea or against Watford. It really won't change.
Yeah, and does it make it more difficult for you as a manager because, you know, effectively, you know, your job is to kind of stop it, but it's hard to identify exactly why it's happening. It doesn't seem like a conditioning issue. It doesn't seem, you know, like, you know, performances are still good. So
it's not a performance issue. It's not a team performance issue because the team's dominating and hitting the numbers that we all look for. It's not that from an eye point of view. What I'm seeing a good performance. It's not an attitude point of view. There's been a little bit of slow stuff in there, which I think is sort of a mindset playing a little bit slow at Reading. Set pieces that we've looked at, you know, the goals at QPR. We conceded a couple of throws from Sheffield United. Obviously, those stuff you can iron out, which we feel we've done now, and we look a lot stronger and better. Set pieces for and against. Conditioning, nothing. Sheffield United on top, Reading on top, QPR on top. Swansea, we did enough. It wasn't. We got ourselves into a great position, even though the referee decided to make it a little bit more of an even game. And then the Watford condition, second half, run over the top of a really good side. Didn't look at once that he was flagging. I think there's a couple of boys that need more minutes, which we'll get better with. Clarkey and Alex Mowat and certainly Rodrigo. But the others are full of running, full of life. We obviously lost a couple of players in that game as well. So from a mentality point of view, feeling sorry for ourselves, no. Feeling sorry for ourselves after defeat going into the next game, no, not really. Individual errors, small details, you know, that's stuff that you look at and go, he shouldn't have done that, that's led to that, you know, decision there. Could he have done better with that decision in the 93rd minute? Do we run it in the corner? Does Rodrigo go for the shot? That's quite difficult to talk to a young boy who's got that ambition and got that ability to stop him doing that. I don't know. Ask the punters what do they want me to do with that? Do they want me to tell him to run in the corner, or did he want him to go for a last minute winner, which would have been a spectacular goal, which he has got in the bag, and as well, by the way, it wasn't a million miles off happening as well. And so we're all sat in here, and nobody's going to say to me, well, why did you run it in the corner in the 94th minute? They'll be saying what a brilliant bit of skill, individual bit of skill it was for him to score from that. But beyond that, there's a couple of things that we could have done better, and there's certainly something that we couldn't do nothing about, which is a shank shot, deflected and falls to the boy, 6 yards out. So it's stuff that we have to take on the chin, but you know, keep going and believing, doing the right things, and things will change hopefully as people keep telling me they will.
Yeah. You've mentioned the injury front there. Is it bad news on Lenihan?
No, everybody's okay for the weekend. Everybody's fit.
They're both okay.
Yeah, everybody's fit, yeah.
One thing that hasn't helped so far this season is obviously needing to shuffle a bit because of the lack of depth, particularly in midfield, I guess. You know, not having that consistency, particularly in the back three, probably hasn't helped either.
Yeah, it's not helped, but that's how it is. So it's not an ideal situation, but we have to adjust. Players have to adjust. We have to adjust. But no, in an ideal world, would I keep that back five solid? Yeah. Would I, get some continuity into that? Would I keep that midfield three or 2 and a 10 solid? Yeah. Would I flip it around at the top of the pitch? Yeah, I would do at times, but it all depends on certain bits and pieces, and it all depends on, if I think somebody needs a rest. I don't think, from especially sort of the back five point of view and maybe the midfield point of view from a conditioning, I'm not so sure that we need to change that round. Maybe at the top of the pitch to freshen it up a little bit, of course. And obviously in that becomes injuries, suspensions and loss of form. So we always have to add those into everything. But in an ideal world, I should imagine, majority of managers will want to keep close to as settled side as possible, because if they are, then there's a reason behind that.
Yeah, just finally for me, you mentioned, the lack of midfield depth in particular, you might peak at the free agents list?
Yeah, there's going to have to be a peak in that. It's not going to be ideal. But there might be something that drops out for us. So, yeah, again, the work doesn't stop. Cheers, Craig.
Just injuries with Tuba, where's he at?
He'll be available for the game after the international break.
And obviously, you know, with not necessarily getting the number of forwards in you would want, when Matthew came in, you kind of were saying this is a development one. We need to, you know, we can't put too much on him, kind of thing. Do you have to? I mean, you've had a chance to have a look at him now. Is he kind of where you thought he was in terms of his career progression? Is he a bit further ahead? Will you have to look at how you use?
Yeah, but these, you know, Tuba being out injured, you know, Josh being out injured as well. You know, he'll possibly come into our thoughts. In an ideal situation, we'd have liked to have done an extra forward, of course, and a couple of midfield players. You know, that was the objective. But yeah, I mean, I ain't got a crystal ball. I don't know what happens. I could lose 3 players today, and we have to shuffle, and people sometimes get a chance earlier than what is expected. But yeah, I think we're all understanding at the club that, you know, that Matthew Oppe was someone that didn't play a lot of football last year, that had obviously shown some signs, and there was a player in there for the future. But you never know. As I said, sometimes you have to get chucked in at the deep end, and we have to run with it, and sometimes out of adversity comes some little gems. And listen, I know whatever team that we put out will be competitive, and if Matt gets his opportunity, then hopefully he takes it and he accelerates that situation from the position where we thought he would be in.
And when we were talking about Tony coming in there, I think your words were, "I'm not sure I could do it." Don't fancy a little wander out of Hillsborough?
Are you kidding me? I don't fancy a little wander out of Hillsborough. I'm driving through there to get to the motorway. That's all I'm doing.
That's it.
I'm getting battered here. I'm getting battered here again. I'm not getting battered for about a couple of years, but that'll stoke them up again. They love me.
It adds an interesting dynamic him coming back, though. This is quite unusual. I mean, it's just typical football the way it's his first game, of course. But
incredible.
It does add a bit of a dynamic to the.
Hey, listen, everybody. You know, listen. It's in jest really regarding Tony. Just delighted. I think everybody is to see him back in, because he's a good football guy. So and he'll know us. He'll know our strengths and weaknesses, and obviously, you know, they're going well. So it's, you know, he wanted to get back in, and obviously it's a great move for him after his good work at Blackburn, and generally a really good career in management.
And when Chris was saying about could it be the catalyst for the season? I totally accept what you mean about the players not needing a spark, and that there hasn't been that in the performance. From a fan's point of view, though, obviously it's a derby game, it's Monday night, it's on the telly, the Sunderland end will be full, we'll be working with Sunderland fans on the next morning, you know, it's that.
Yeah, no, I do, I understand it, all I say, listen, if we go and win the next 8 out of 10 games and we look back and go, that was the catalyst to our run, then I'll take that all day long. Yeah. But I don't. What I'm saying is I don't think from an internal point of view there's, and that doesn't mean that they don't know the importance of a local derby, because one thing that I will tell them is I know the importance of a local derby. Whether I was at Oxford versus Swindon, and I put Paolo Di Canio away 3 times, and I put the opposition in Sheffield away once memorably. So we understand it. We understand it, and the message to the players will be, even though they might not think, the opposition might not think it's a local derby, for us, it's close, and it's there, and we're on our own patch. I think you've seen when the noise gets turned up at home last year, fabulous experiences. You know, the Tottenham game, you know, the Forest game. A couple of big games there that were fabulous, and the derby with everything that surrounded that, the sort of the angst and the agitation between both clubs, and certainly I'll have that feel on Monday night. I think it's going to be a cracking match. Both teams are going to be ambitious. I'm sure Sunderland won't sit back in terms of what they've got, and they're going forward, and the bounce of a promoted side, being in that position a few times, going into a new division, and you feel that you can take anybody on, and you've got that confidence and belief that has built from a playoff win at Wembley, which has been brilliant, and to a solid to good start from their point of view. So this is as tough as it gets this year, in my opinion, at home, and we need to turn up. And but we have turned up. I think we have turned up all season, but we need to put a balanced performance in, and fire and ice, as we call it, and make sure that we're nice and calm when we have to play, and the other side of it, we're aggressive and competitive, because certainly that's one thing it's going to be. It's going to be aggressive. It's going to be competitive. Cheers, Carl.
Cheers, Chris.
Chris, you've said many times through the last few weeks about wanting to fill up those numbers that you haven't got in the back of the shirts. How much do you think, in your heart of hearts, that we've got enough to win on Monday, to get away from the bottom, and to put in a challenge in the division?
Yes, and yes.
So you think that is a squad and a team that can compete?
We need a slice of luck in terms of not losing any players. The squad lacks a little bit of depth in a certain position. That's all. So we've got to work hard on that out of contract list, and hopefully somebody will be floating about that's maybe ended their contract that might come available, and that'll be great. But that's all. It's a bit of depth in that position. But as I said, I don't want to get. There's a lot of bodies that we've had to bring in, and in an ideal world we wouldn't have had to do as many as we needed to do. And for some reasons that players that were here that needed to go as well. And I'll be up front. I believe Martin Piero needed to go. So we lost that one, and we were looking to replace that. Unfortunately, we didn't replace that. So that's possibly a difficult situation to be involved in. It's only one area. There's a lot of businesses being done. To try and bring 11, 12 in is quite a lot in one window. But we've took it on. We took that challenge on, and we've just fell a little bit short. In terms of not strengthening that sort of position. But as I said, it's frustrated. Yeah, of course we are. But we have to move on, and there's a lot of games to play, a lot of football to be played. The season finishes in May. We've got another window in January. Do we need to stay healthy and fit? Yeah, but I think you've seen, Tuesday night we didn't have those players, and we went to Watford, and I think certainly one of the outstanding teams in the division, and the players that they've got, and our performance second half, nobody was really talking about, the sort of depth then. So would it have helped us? Yeah. Would it have strengthened us? Yeah. But that's not the case, and we have to take that and move on.